Scaling your business is a great thing, but you got to be able to do it properly. And here are the 3 mistakes that men make when they are scaling their business. If you don't do this properly, you end up with a monster. Now you got something that's bigger, badder, meaner than you ever wanted, and now you're kind of stuck. So here are the 3 things to avoid. First of all, one of the reasons why men tend to scale their businesses is because they feel that it's the right thing to do. Whenever we are working with an individual, one of the questions that we ask is, why do you want to scale your business? And we got to get very granular as to what scaling your business is going to get you in the long run. For some people, it might be profit. For some people, it might be status. For some people, it might be sustainability or longevity or some kind of security for the future. But you have to ask yourself this question. Why do you truly want to scale your business? Why do you want it to grow? Why do you want it to get bigger? Now, there is a fundamental principle in business that if you're not growing, you are dying in business. And I truly agree with that to a certain point, because you got to capture more and more market share to stay relevant. If you're stagnant, yeah, you probably will fizzle, but that doesn't mean that you have to grow at a significantly high rate. Because sometimes when you grow too fast, you're actually just outgrowing your business as a whole and you just can't control it. And what ends up happening is it's like going too fast in a car. If you lose control, sometimes you just can't get that control back. So yes, growing your business and scaling it is important for sustainability. You just got to understand that you got to grow it at the right pace. But going back to that original point, why are you wanting to scale it? Because I've seen guys scale their business. And what they end up doing is that they lose interest after a while, because what they thought was going to be a path for them to be more fulfilled, they end up chasing something that they didn't even want. So knowing what you're going to get at the end of the day, at the end of the rainbow, is very important. What are you going to do? What are you going to get after you scale your business by double, let's just say, or triple, or 10 times, whatever your goal is? What is it that you're looking to achieve? You actually have to work backwards and figure out what that end goal is first, because if you work backwards, you will realize that maybe it's not even the thing that you're looking for. There's a number of people that I can think of off the top of my head when we asked them, some individuals wanted to go from 10 million to 100 million, and we asked them what they were looking to achieve, and we actually wrote down what they were wanting out of life. It didn't align with the growth plan. It didn't align with 10xing their business. So the whole purpose for them to 10x was just completely false. It was just this narrative that they created that they must grow their business. They must scale it by X. It's kind of like a fad because everybody else is doing it. You feel like doing it too. Don't get me wrong. Growing your profits is great. That's something I think that is something that we would all like to do, right? Have more money, have more wealth at the end of the day. But you got to ask yourself, what are you going to get by having more wealth? Is it going to give you a better quality life? Is it going to give you better relationships? Is it going to give you more freedom? You got to pay attention to that. You got to scale your businesses for the right reason, or scale your business for the right reasons. The second element is you're not scaling the right way. And just like I mentioned before, you can grow this thing to become a massive monster that you can't control. And when you can't control it, you feel stuck. Right? You feel stuck because now you have this thing and you don't know what to do with it. And maybe you haven't grown it in a very healthy way where you haven't set the right structure up or the right team up, and you're getting more and more involved in the business. You have a higher level of stress rather than having a lower level of stress, right? So again, this is a misconception. A lot of guys think that by growing their business, they're going to have more freedom and less stress in their life. Look, if you 10x your business and you don't do it properly, you could be 10xing your stress, or maybe 20xing your stress. Again, very common challenge for a lot of people is they end up growing the business. They don't do it the right way. And then they create a lifestyle that absolutely just horrifies them. They wake up every morning and they absolutely hate it because they feel like they're stuck to their business. They can't get out. It's just way too big for them to even do anything. They don't know what their options are. So I'm not trying to scare you, but again, these are the 3 challenges or mistakes that men make. And I want to be able to make it clear for you so you can actually avoid these challenges and avoid these mistakes. The third challenge or mistake is that you don't have an exit plan. You don't know what that transition plan is. And you should always have that in mind as you're scaling your business? Are you looking to sell your business at the end of the day? Do you want to sell it to an outside buyer? Do you want to sell it to a private equity firm? Do you want to sell it to your employees? Do you want to just dissolve it? Which is not always a great option, but it does happen for businesses because they don't think about what the end game is. What does that transition plan look like? Are you going to pass it down to the next generation? Are you going to give it to your partner if you have a partner in business or other shareholders? Are you going to sell off your shares? You got to keep that picture in mind, and you can't avoid it. Again, it's not that see no evil, hear no evil approach. You can't just pretend like it's not there or delay it. I see a lot of guys doing that as well. They're like, I'll get to it at some point. Right now, I'm not ready. Right now, I'm not ready to retire. But you got to think about this way before you're ready to retire, or way before you're ready to take that next leap in life, or that open up that next chapter, because it will enable you to structure your plan effectively so you can transition properly and exit with more money. And you should definitely do that at least 3 to 5 years before you even think about it. And so what is that point in time? That is now. I always encourage men to take a look at what that transition plan looks like. Some people call it exit plan. But what does that look like now? Because at every moment, if you're on top of that game, you can exit at any given moment. If a buyer comes to you and says they want to buy your company, if you're set up to say, yeah, you know what, you're ready, you have all your personal stuff handled. Yes, a lot of the transition plan has to do with your personal aspirations as well, your personal wealth, the tax liabilities. You got to have that all handled beforehand, and you got to have that structure in place so that if someone does come to you and gives you a sweet deal, or unfortunately, this is very common, someone passes away. Maybe it's you, maybe it's a loved one, maybe it's a family member, and you just don't have that drive anymore. And you're like, you just want to live your life and travel, do whatever. You got to be able to transition. Basically, you might have to do it on a dime. So if you have your plan in place, you can actually do that more effectively. A lot of men have been caught up by not having a proper plan, and now you're kind of stuck. So let's just regroup here, because this is, again, a very important topic, because scaling is the number one thing that guys want to do with their business. They want to grow their business. That is the most common thing. That is that when people come to us and ask for our help and ask to partner up with us, and we take them on as either partners or clients, the number one thing that they want to do is scale. And the number one thing we got to figure out is, okay, what does that scaling look like, and why are you scaling it? So here are the 3 mistakes again. Number 1, doing it for the wrong reasons. You got to be very clear as to what you are trying to get out of scaling your business. Number 2, not scaling it the right way. If you scale your business, you grow it bigger, you 10x it, you have more employees, more headaches, more clients, more liability. You might not have that freedom that you're looking for at the end of the day if you don't do it properly. And number 3, you always have to have a plan for the next phase of your life. That transition plan in terms of what you're going to do with your business. You're going to sell it, give it to your kids, sell it to a partner, your shares to a partner, whatever it might be, whatever options you have, you should be thinking about those right now. So when that period comes, or when that time comes, because it will. And a lot of the times it's unpredictable. It just happens. At least you can act on it effectively. So focus on these 3 things, and I'm sure you're going to have a way better ability to scale your business, because you're going to feel a lot more confident addressing these 3 things.